Hi, and welcome to Trainli TV, your source for everything that is garden railroading. I'm Holly McLean, and thank you for watching today. So, notice that it's this time of year where we really aren't quite sure if it's the first snowstorm of next season or the last snowstorm of this season. Yesterday was about 80 degrees. Today it's forecasts for a little bit of rain and a little bit of snow. However, we're pretty sure that spring is on the way. Now, I don't want to get started in a big project that will kind of take several weeks or months to complete, because as soon as things warm up a little bit more, we'll be moving out into the garden, getting the railroad up and running for the summer months. So I just want to find something kind of a little bit more quick and easy for the railroad, and something I could do over the next couple of weeks. So what I think we'll do is let's go take a look outside. It's a little cloudy, a little breezy, but and definitely a little bit chilly. But we'll take a look and see if I can get some ideas and see what we can come up with. Let's go. So we're walking around the railroad and looking for the highest point in the region. That's usually a good place where you'll find big radio towers. And so I think I'm going to put it up at the top of the Tahoe Junction Division at the Klein-Scheidegg Station, which is right here and on top of this mound. Should be a good location. Now we're building 2 radio towers, so I'm going to put the second radio tower over here at the top of the Alpine Division near the train station and the lookout tower. This is a radio tower near our home in Switzerland that I'm getting the inspiration from. All right, well, we are back in the shop, and I'm scrounging around, and I found a few odds and ends of things. This really nice copper screen or mesh. I think that'll work nice on the tower. I have some half-inch copper tubing that's 24 inches. So I think I'm going to end up making 2 of these radio antennas, because it's usually a little bit faster to make 2 or 3 at a time than just the one. And I think I can find another location out on the railroad for a second tower. And usually always the second one is easier to make than the first one, because you kind of figure out what to do. And then I have a whole bunch of different K&S precision metals, brass, wire, tubing, angles, and things like that. So all of this will be nice as just to add details onto the radio antenna. Now, when you're modeling some of this stuff, sometimes people don't necessarily know what the real things look like, or they've only mainly seen them from a distance. So as a modeler, that gives you a little bit more leeway on as long as you're making something that looks relatively believable, and especially with the 10-foot rule from in garden railroading, is if it's going to be 10 feet or further away, that really kind of makes your attention to scale a little bit more or a lot more forgiving. So, and a lot of people have never been up close to, a large radio tower on top of a mountain, so that gives you a little more leeway in modeling. So I took some pictures of some and got some ideas, and we'll just throw a handful of things on there, different shapes and sizes that look like they could be some form in an antenna. So I think the first thing I want to do is figure out, I'm going to put solder an end cap on these, and then add probably a 7/32 brass tubing for another foot or so that will come up out of the center like that. And I also want to make a couple little triangular platforms that then the things could attach onto. Just using this little K&S tube cutter. It's a miniature like pipe cutter, and I cut this 7/32 tubing, brass tubing, at the 14-inch mark. I wanted to have at least 12 inches sticking up, and plus I'll have a little bit extra. So that turned out pretty good. And it takes some 400 grit sandpaper and just clean that up on both ends, on both pipes, and then do the same thing on the 1/2 inch. And that makes it so that the solder will spread nicely and get a good bond. So that's good. And have a little bit of flux. I'm going to put that around there and put a little bit inside the cap. All right, we'll let that go ahead and cool for a moment. Soldered this cap vertically, and we got a nice, pretty good seam around there. Not going to show up once it's painted out on the railroad. I have taken this brass tubing and put it through the hole on the copper tubing here, and we're just going to solder this in place. All right, that gave us a really nice bead all the way around. Well, we got the two main parts of our radio antenna. We have did the cap, soldered the cap onto that, and then the brass tubing on. Everything's pretty solid, and we cleaned it up with some 400 grit sandpaper. And so not quite sure what color I'm going to paint these. Might paint them all white, might paint them silver, or I'm leaning towards maybe that orange, emergency red, and white, like sometimes you see some of the towers. So, but we don't have to worry about that at the moment. I'll just kind of think on that in the background. So the next thing I want to do is they have these little triangular platforms that were, one or two of them. So I might put one right here, where we change sizes, and maybe another one down a few inches. And what I think I'm going to use is some of this brass tubing. What I need to do is kind of figure out how big, I want them. Maybe about like that. So we need to cut 3 of those. And I'm thinking maybe 4 inches, so we'd probably need at least 12 inches there, 23 inches. So I know I can get one good one out of this one, and then we have some of this tubing that might work well for the other ones. So I'll get my little miter saw. So we measured out our this little brass tubing, and we're going to cut these on a 45-degree angle, and they're just under about 3 3/4 inches long. And we have a little jig set up here, and we're just using our Proxxon saw with a little cutoff wheel, and we'll cut this last one here. All right, we have those two, and we'll match this up, make sure everything's kind of going in the correct direction. That looks pretty good. So we'll do one more, and like that. Put this in here, make sure that we are lined up right where we want to be. Looks like it. So we will we got that one. Now they are hot when they come off the. Okay, we use the Proxxon little chop saw to cut our brass pieces. And now I'm going to start by just soldering the one corner and work my way around, and hopefully it will all go nicely and according to plan. All right, the problem I had was this piece of granite had kind of like a leather finish and wasn't very smooth, so I was getting kind of a funky angle on these, and they weren't really coming together closely. So now we got that smooth piece, so that should work. I want to get more of my solder here. That's all good. All right, we have our little triangle here, and to cool this off in some water. Then I think I'll just hit the edges with the Dremel and to smooth it all up so we don't have super sharp points, and go on to the next one.